Let no feeling of discouragement prey upon you, and in the end, you are sure to succeed. Abraham Lincoln. Again, my friends, that discouragement comes from not being in the market each and every day practicing. Because again, you can do that at no cost, but for your time, which is, of course, the most valuable thing you have. But you can practice trade to your heart's content. And again, we don't ask you to spend more than 10 to 15 minutes. What you'll do there, and I know people, they get all excited and they want to spend hours every day, and then they burn out. So pace yourself. 10 to 15 minutes each and every day, following these charts, practice trading, doing everything you need to do to learn how this works. Let's jump into these charts. We see it's a day where everything is up. Now, they're not climbing super high, unless Bitcoin up 4.23%. We'll get to that at the end, but let's jump first into the S&P 500, up just about 0.1%. 599.68 is where things closed. And of course, we told you on Friday we were bullish, 70% with an 80% backtest accuracy. Well, of course, we were right. And we are still bullish at 70% probability of continued up movement over the next 5+ days. We expect movement in the area of $10.63 with an 80% backtest accuracy. We have your entry and your exit points, of course, posted online in our trade execution summary grid that's available to you for free if you just sign up for free at chartingwealth.com for our daily reviews. We call them the Market Compass Daily. And of course, you get that each and every day at the close of the market, along with this video and all sorts of other great stuff. Don't worry about having to write all this down on the trade execution summary grid. We give it to you for free. That is where we are on the S&P. Let me see if I've got anything else to share with you. Our consensus is that we're simply up across all time frames. Probability of continued upward movement is at 80%. Backtest accuracy, 70% continued movement. So that is where we are on the S&P as we start the week. As we look at things, we can see a little bit of volume there. We look at where we are on the Friday, Monday. We didn't quite hit average volume on the 2-day, did go to a higher high. And you can see that the volume was a little below average on both the morning and afternoon as the market slowly climbed a little bit higher. The high so far this week, 601.25, last week, 683. So we are moving in the right direction, albeit just a little. Let's look at where we are on the NASDAQ 100. Last week we hit a high of 533.05. This week 532.35. So again, let's make sure that's right. 533.05, yes, 532.35. So we're up for the day, but we hadn't hit the high of last week. We look at the 2-day candle. That prior 2-day candle was 533.05. Yeah, so that movement occurred on Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday of last week. Friday, Monday of this week, we've not hit that. A little bit below, like the S&P, the average volume on the half day, you can see below there. But we are continuing at where we were on Friday at a 70% bullish probability of continued up movement, 80% backtest accuracy. And of course, as we look at things, I can tell you that when it comes to the Qs, our backtest accuracy is based on, like everything else, the historic uptrends. And as we look at our consensus, we are uptrends across all time frames. Short-term consolidation, probability of upward movement, like I said, is 70% over the next 5+ days. So stocks looking okay, not super strong out of the gate, but looking all right. Now let's look at where we are on bonds. You know, we had those 3 weeks of increasing volume in the down move, and then the last 2 weeks dojis. This week starting off with a little red, is that a little red spinning top? Let's open that up and take a close look. Yeah, it is. A little red spinning top, not reaching anywhere near those lows back on the week beginning the 19th of May with all that volume and all that plunging down move. But as we look, it looks like bonds could be converting to the mean, could be converting to the trend. And, that, again, the prevailing trend, it is your friend until the end when it bends. It's not bent yet. Our consensus is that there is a clear downtrend in the time frames. Probability of continued downward movement is strong, 85%. Now, as we look at where we are with the probability, that's at 85% also. So again, we've got strong backtest accuracy and strong directional probability. So again, you might say, well, Tom, why would I be buying TLT if it's going down? And we keep explaining to folks it's not TLT, it's the inverse fund, or of course, it would be puts if you are a options trader practicing your options trades. And of course, you can learn how to trade options by supporting us, becoming a Patreon member. And we send you first thing, in addition to my book, 3-Wave Trading Advantage, you also get Options Made Simple, the Charting Wealth Way, the 3-part series. But as we look here, and as we look at TBF, Tango Bravo Foxtrot, this is the inverse of 20-year U.S. government bonds, and it's been going up. Well, it's sort of been leveling off and now starting to pop up again, but you can see those 3 weeks of strong climbing upward movement, that all was captured. Remember, these inverse funds are set up percentage to percentage to go in the opposite direction of the underlying fund, which is TLT. And again, if you've not taken our training on inverse funds, how to make money when markets crash, you need to take that. There's, inverse funds work for some people, don't work for others. You need to understand them. You need to practice trade them, see if you like them. Some people, I like them. Some people like them, some people don't. They've got things that can give you a problem. If you're not good at tracking the market, it can suck all of the profits out of you very quickly. They revalue often, typically every day, and they have higher fees because they're tough to manage. Imagine running a fund where you've got to use derivatives to literally get the opposite return that the market is giving the underlying fund. That's crazy, isn't it? Well, that's the way they work. So again, keep that in mind. Practice trade it. See if you like it. Let's move on to gold. Gold up about 0.5%. Now, where were we on Friday on gold? We were 65% bullish on gold. We were a 67% backtest accuracy. All that remains the same. Over the next 5+ days, we are showing some real potential for bullish movement, up about $15.76. That is a lot of upward movement. We've got our entry and our exit there on the trade execution summary grid. I can tell you, as we look at our consensus uptrend, but weakening momentum in shorter time frames, probability of continued upward movement, like I said, is at 65%. We're not starting the week off real strong there, but again, it is flowing in the right direction. You can see a little red doji forming there on the 2-day, finished forming there on this Friday, Monday. And again, you can see where we had those 2 days of strong down, 4 down candles, and then popping up to save the day some in the afternoon. So again, I've not been really excited. 65% bullishness doesn't get me excited. A 67% backtest accuracy doesn't get me excited. But nonetheless, our numbers are telling us that we are bullish on gold. Now, lastly, we will go to Bitcoin. We were bullish on Friday at 60% and a 60% backtest accuracy. That's 60% directional probability over the next 5+ days. And that was rewarded 4.23%, a booming up. Now again, we had those 6 prior days of down movement pushing through that weekly trend line. And then of course, the Monday saved it. Well, Friday started to save it. It slowed down and popped up and then pushed through strong on Monday morning and afternoon. Again, after this week of dropping through that prior strong trend line, I didn't really expect that to happen. And again, with an only 60% backtest accuracy, you would really be tossing the dice And that is not the way we like to play the game of trading. But if you had, it worked out for you, but just as easily could have rolled back over. But up 4.25%. And again, it's got a ways to go before it hits the high of highs that week that started the 19th of May. That is where we are, my friends. We so appreciate you being with us. We always love to hear from you. Don't hesitate to reach out to us, cw@chartingwealth.com. If you appreciate what we do, become a Patreon supporter. We've got the book there for you, the 3-part series, Options Made Simple, The Charting Wealth Way. We appreciate you. God bless. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth.